This is Straight Talk with Atlanta native Greg Fann, the preacher man, and his sidekick Shanan Jones. Frank discussions of issues affecting the ATL, Fulton County, the state of Georgia, the nation, and around the world. And now, here they are, live and in living color, the team of Jones and Fann, the preacher man.
You're now in tune to Straight Talk with George Trudy, Greg Fann, the preacher man, and Shanan E. Jones. Shannon's off. He's offset today. You know, he's a busy man. He's here, he's back, he's everywhere. He's got his oral sheen, his afro sheen on today, and he is ready to go. We have an exciting program for you today. We have with us the attorney, Dexter Wimbush, who's going to be talking about his client who was falsely accused of falsely imprisonment of 8 individuals in his home in Griffin, Georgia. And we'll also have with us none other than Gerald Rose, the president and CEO and founder of the New World Order National Human Rights Organization. But right now, let me tell you, bring in my co-host and hey, Shanan, how you doing today, Shanan?
How you doing? I heard that those.
You heard about the Afro Shane? You done froze up. I can't hear you. You said you heard about the Afro Sheen.
You can't hear me?
I can hear you. You said you heard about the Afro Sheen.
I did.
You did? Okay.
Can you hear me?
I don't see it dripping, so today you didn't put as much in your head as you normally do.
Only someone that used to wear a Jerry curl knows about dripping.
Yo, that's what I'm trying to tell you. Stop putting that stuff in your hair because it'll take you out.
How you doing today, Bishop?
I'm doing great, man. I'm doing great. Great program today. We're going to also, Shanan, we're going to be talking about this thing with Donald Trump and Miss Fannie Willis, and Fannie's now got the special grand jury by the jurors. The judges have given her permission to investigate the alleged crime of the former president by trying to overthrow the election by asking the Secretary of State to fine him 11,000 votes. So we're going to see how that's going to go.
11,780 votes.
780?
780, yeah.
Okay, it's 11,780. You know, you're a mathematician. You're going to have the numbers anywhere. I just know of 11,000. How about that? Can I round it up?
I hope they hit him on every count. That's why I want to make sure if they give him, I want them to hit him on 11,780 count to vote for. That's why I want to make sure the number's right.
Well, thank you so very much for the numbers being right, sir. Also, too, I wanted to, we're going to be talking about the people that he had gotten to made like they were the one who was duly qualified to certify the election and how that played out. And Mr. Biden's opportunity now to appoint a Superior Court judge to the U.S. Supreme Court. Yeah. Supreme Court. I mean, these are some interesting times, aren't they?
Man, this is a little bit of the 60s, a little bit of the 50s, a little bit of 1865, all over again. It's interesting.
Oh, and I want to just congratulate you this past Sunday over at New Grand Chapel. Wonderful message. You brought the word. You brought the house down. And I tell you, God really used you on Sunday for Martin Luther King ecumenical service of the interdenominational community. Thank you for bringing that word, how God used you. So, Shanan, if you don't mind, then let's now go on to Miss C and let Miss C do her news. And we'll come back and we'll have Dexter Wimbush, and Dexter will be talking about his client and what's going on in Griffin, Georgia. We'll be back on the other side with myself.
And make sure Miss C mentions my church picnic fish fry. I need a fish fry.
Well, you're going to have it in Zap Park and College Park. We'll be back on the other side after Miss C with more right here on Straight Talk.
Thanks, Greg. Thanks, Shanan. This is Miss C here with your 3-minute news blast or more. I like to say that. Greg don't like that. But anyway, Shady Grove Baptist at 1147 Osborne Street in Southwest Atlanta invites you to join them every Wednesday at 2 p.m. for their inspirational conference call. You can dial in by calling 917-900-1022 and then the access code of 44755-4332 and then the pound sign. That's 2 p.m. every Wednesday. Join Shady Grove Baptist for their inspirational conference call. The number is 917-900-1022 and then the access code is 44755-4332 and the pound sign. The pastor is James Napoleon Tukes. He's the senior pastor. First Baptist Church of Gainesville invites you to their virtual Bible study every Tuesday at 6:30 p.m. It's on YouTube and Facebook. They also invite you to Sunday morning worship at 9:45 a.m. They're located at 1810 Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard in Gainesville. Call them at 770-536-0371. And the pastor is Isaac Whitehead Jr. Okay? Pastor Randy Glover invites you to their Meeting at the Throne prayer call every Tuesday at 7 p.m. To join the prayer call, dial 720-830-9363. That's the Meeting at the Throne prayer call every Tuesday at 7 p.m. The number to dial is 720-830-9363. Okay, I want to say a happy belated birthday to our own announcer, Hal Lamar. Happy belated, Hal. I hope it was a good one. And listen, I got some homework for you. Look, on the screen, you see there are some buttons that say like, dislike. I would like for you to press the like button and like us. And then there's another button, if you haven't already pressed it, that says subscribe. So I'd like for you to press those two buttons. It just shows that you like us. It doesn't cost anything. So remember to press like and subscribe. Thank you. Okay, now, if you would like for me to announce your events, your worship services, your church events, your social events, I'll be happy to. Just email them to me to straighttalknews1362@gmail.com. That's straighttalknews1362@gmail.com. And I'll be happy to announce it, okay? Well, that's going to do it for Miss C and your 3-minute news blast. And we're going to see you right back here next time, okay? Bye.
All right, we're here now with attorney Dexter Wimbush, and I tell you, Dexter, we're honored to have you today on Straight Talk with Shanan and myself. And Shanan is offset, so I have to do it this way today. And of course, we want to be a part of this discussion. And let me just talk a little bit about you before I bring you on. Attorney Wimbush has been in the fight for many years. He was the attorney for the SLC. He is a judge. He is an attorney. He ran for, in 3 different counties, and I didn't learn this until he ran, 3 or 4 different counties for the attorney general, for the district attorney rather, for that district. So Dexter, I'm glad to have you today. I want to talk today about this case in particular, the arrest of the Griffin pastor, Mr. Pastor Curtis Bankston, and his wife that was charged for false imprisonment. So if you would, if much of you can share, we'd love to hear what you have to say about your client in this case.
All right. Well, thanks, Bishop, for allowing me to be here to join you guys this morning. This case, emerged a couple weeks ago. Essentially, what happened was my client was running a transitional home here in Griffin. There was an incident at about 6 o'clock in the morning where the EMS came out to attend to one of the individuals who was living in this transitional home. The door to the basement was locked. The person who managed the door with the key was not inside, and so the EMS had to come through the window in order to reach the person who was having problems inside the home. That led to an investigation by the Griffin Police Department, and subsequently my client was arrested for false imprisonment, but it didn't stop there. They made allegations that my client and his wife had locked individuals inside the basement against their will. They were not being taken care of properly, being denied medicine. And so when I got involved, and they also alleged that they were controlling their money. So I got involved, did a preliminary investigation, and found out that much of what the police were declaring was in fact not true. There was an incident with the door, but no one's being held against their will. Nobody had been kidnapped. Nobody had been false imprisoned against their will. Everybody inside was receiving their medicine. The state had been there 2 days before this incident, even though the police claimed they were living in deplorable conditions. That just was not the case. And so our office got involved to bring to light the other side of the story, because Pastor Banks and his wife were being painted in a way really as monsters, and that's just not the case.
Question you want to ask of the attorney here?
Is Attorney Wimbush, when you say transitional home, tell us the client, or just humanize for us, or let us see who the clientele was or is.
Shanan, we have a problem in this country, and that is we have a lack of affordable housing. And this really hits individuals who are in a transition state, those who are coming out of jail, those who've been declared homeless. There are not a plethora of shelters in existence. And so Pastor Banks and his wife started this Christian ministry where they acquired a home in Griffin. It is a fairly large home, and they're able to live upstairs, and they converted the basement area into a living quarters for up to 8 people who were 8 men who were living down in that area. And so that's how they ended up there. The first person that they took in, they actually found living under a bridge. And when they brought him in, they discovered that he was a ward of the state. As such, the state began to give money to cover their room and board to live in this transitional housing. And so subsequently, the state started making referrals to Pastor Banks and his wife. And so that's how we got this situation where 8 people were living in this transitional space.
Where's the case now?
They both have been arrested. We're waiting on their arraignment. So in the next month or so, we'll have our first appearance. They've both been arrested. They both bonded out. And so that's where the case stands now.
Let me just ask a question. It's always, for me, that someone trying to do good, someone can always see evil in the good that they're doing, and then media has a way of demonizing things. I looked at the tape when you did the news story, and I looked at the basement, and knowing media people, right? I'm looking at the basement where these people are housed, and I look and I see this nice basement. I see dining area. I see places for people to sit. I see all of these things. But one thing that I didn't see is their living quarters. And the reason I believe I didn't see their living quarters, because there was nothing to show that they were living in deplorable situations. There was nothing to show that they were being treated unfairly in that home. So the media has a way of spinning stuff to make things look a certain kind of way and demonizing people, and to demonize this pastor and his wife who was trying to do good and helping someone. And it bothers me as a pastor, as a minister, right? Because we're commissioned to look out for the least, the less, the lost. That's what Jesus said. That's what we're supposed to do. And it looks like that's what he was trying to do, to be accommodating for those people who would otherwise be in the street. Every day I ride by an area, it's on Whitehall. and this one lady sleeps there. She doesn't leave. She makes her abode down on the sidewalk. And I see other people making their abode on the sidewalk. I see people sleeping under bridges. I see people, out in the elements. And here he is working to take people out of an element into a safe and humane environment. But now it looks like they're trying to demonize him as being somebody who is taking people money, not giving people their medicine, having people living in deplorable situations. And just looking at from the outside, I don't know the inside, just looking at it from the outside, from what I've seen on the news, that didn't seem to be true. The home on the outside looked beautiful, and on the inside it looked beautiful. So, and where they were living at. So, I mean, that's just the way I saw it. But anyway, I know that that's something you're going to have to deal with in the courts, and it's going to have to be adjudicated in the courts. But we're praying for him and his wife, and certainly for you, as you are the lead attorney and trying to bring out the truth. And you always do it for justice. You always do it for right. And I appreciate you and the work that you're doing on behalf, not only of this client, but the least, the less, the lost, and the left out. And I might also add that he is a preacher too. So you truly understand. Is there anything you want to say as we close out, Dexter?
Well, Bishop, even going back to the Richard Jewell case right here in Atlanta, we saw the media take something and run with it. Similar circumstance here. They took one side of the story. We just don't have fair and balanced news anymore. And I was so appreciative of the news they actually, tell our part of the story. Because right now, social media is a fire set ablaze by this issue. And the comments against the pastor who and his wife who are doing God's work. It's just it's tragic how this story has been twisted to make them out to be such venomous creatures. And I just remind people that everybody is innocent until proven guilty, and keep that in mind. Let's not take what the media says as being the gospel. Let's wait for the truth.
And Attorney Wimbush, let's also remember that you said the state of Georgia was sending clients to them. So they were in partnership with, so evidently they were doing something right. And we just need to understand, people need to understand the types of transitional housing and what the law said. And so it seemed to have been certainly a mistake on the part of the key holder, but
Right.
everything else seemed to be on the up and up. And we don't try cases in the media; they're tried in court. And I'm confident that they'll be seen to be victorious on the other side of this, and we hope that you'll come back after that is done and share with us the victory. We need to promote that as equally as we promote these two passages.
Well, thank you so very much again, Attorney Wimbush. And we're looking for you to come back with telling us the outcome of the case. Thank you. And maybe by then we can bring Pastor Baxton back with you to give his side of the story. All right? Thank you. All right, as we get ready now to go on, Shanan and I. And Shanan, are you still there? I hear you somewhere. Shanan, did you leave me? Shanan, you didn't leave me, did you? Did Shanan leave me? Shanan left me? Well, I guess he did. I don't hear him. He ain't saying nothing. Are you still there? Oh, you are? Okay, there you are. Okay, there you. You know what? I thought you had left.
No, it's called hide and go seek.
and I had to seek you out, right?
That's right.
Well, I want to thank you so much and thank Attorney Wimbush for just coming and being a part today and sharing with us what's going on in Griffin with this case with this pastor. But we as ministers, we know, because we're commissioned by Jesus to look out for the least, the less, the lost, and the left out. And we have enough homelessness in our country, especially in our state. And we see it every day. So don't believe everything that you hear. Wait and see. As he just said, things are not tried out in the media. They're tried out in the courts by facts of law. So Shanan, I thank you so much again and for that interview with him. And I know that the CBC, that was it was founded on dealing with homelessness. You're the president of CBC. I know it's dear to your heart in terms of the organization's heart too. That's why we wanted to bring on him to just kind of hear what's going on with this homeless, because we don't want to get other people, pastors, to be afraid to look out for the least, the less, the lost, and they're left out thinking that they're going to be demonized because they're doing something to help people, right? That otherwise wouldn't get the help. Well, thank you. And we're now going to hear from Brother James Broom and Black History Facts. We'll be back with more Straight Talk. And the Preacher Man right here on Straight Talk with Black History Facts with Brother James Broom.
The Reverend Frederick Lee Shuttlesworth, a civil rights activist who led the fight against segregation and other forms of racism as a minister in Birmingham, Alabama. He was co-founder of the Southern Christian Leadership Conference. He initiated and was very instrumental in the Birmingham campaign of 1963 and continued to work against racism and for alleviation of social and the systemic problems facing African Americans and the homeless. Born in Mount Meigs, Alabama, Fred Shuttlesworth became pastor of the Bethel Baptist Church in Birmingham in 1953. Fred Shuttlesworth also was the membership chairman of the Alabama State Chapter of the NAACP. Now, in 1956, the state of Alabama formally outlawed the NAACP from operating within the state. So, in retaliation, Reverend Fred Shuttlesworth, along with Ed Gardner, established the ACMHR, the Alabama Christian Movement for Human Rights. This was done in order to continue the struggle previously done by the NAACP. When the United States Supreme Court ruled that bus segregation in Birmingham was unconstitutional in December of 1956, Reverend Shuttlesworth immediately announced that the ACMHR would be challenging all the segregation laws of that city. Now, this in turn angered the white residents so much so that on December 25th, 1956, 16 sticks of dynamite were placed under his bedroom window. Now, even though his house was heavily damaged, Reverend Fred Shuttlesworth escaped unharmed. In 1957, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., Ralph David Abernathy of Montgomery, Alabama, along with Fred Shuttlesworth from Birmingham and Joseph Lowery of Mobile, T.J. Jemison of Baton Rouge, Louisiana, along with Charles K. Steele of Tallahassee, Florida, also A.L. Davis of New Orleans, and Bayard Ruskin and Ella Baker. They all got together and established the Southern Christian Leadership Conference and created its motto of not one hair, one head, of one person should be harmed. Now, Fred Shuttlesworth did embrace this philosophy, even though his own personality was combative, headstrong, and very blunt. He often disagreed with Dr. King, Ralph Abernathy, and Andrew Young on tactics and approaches. Reverend Fred Shuttlesworth was personally fearless. He understood and was willing to accept all the risks, even death, because Fred Shuttlesworth's motto was to kill segregation or be killed by it. After Reverend Shuttlesworth took up pastorage at the Revelation Baptist Church in Cincinnati, Ohio, he continued to participate in sit-ins of segregated lunch counters and took part in the organization of the Freedom Rides. He was also active in the Selma voting rights movement, which led to the Voting Rights Act of 1965. Throughout his entire life, the Reverend Fred Shuttlesworth never tired or wavered in his commitment. He had streets and foundations named in his honor, and in 2008, he was presented with the Presidential Citizens Medal by then-President Bill Clinton. He also received the Jefferson's Award for Greatest Public Service Benefiting the Disadvantaged. Also in 2008, the Birmingham, Alabama Airport Authority changed the name of its airport in his honor. The Reverend Fred Shuttlesworth died on October 5th, 2011. He was 89 years old. That's Frederick Lee Shuttlesworth. They forget all about him.
It's been Black History Facts with Brother James Broom right here on Straight Talk. Join us each and every Friday from 7 p.m. until 8 p.m. with yours truly, Greg Fann, the Preacher Man, and Shanan E. Jones. And do share these Black History Facts with your family and friends, and do tune in to Straight Talk. Won't you? It ain't nothing but straight talk.
Former President Donald Trump is facing a serious legal threat tonight over his attempts to overturn the 2020 election results in the crucial state of Georgia. A panel of judges has now given the Fulton County, Georgia District Attorney a green light to seat a special grand jury for her investigation into the former president. One of the key pieces of evidence in that inquiry, Trump's now infamous phone call to Georgia Secretary of State, Republican Brad Raffensperger, a year ago, begging him to find the 11,780 votes to overcome Joe Biden's win in that state. The judge's order says the grand jury will begin hearing evidence on May the 2nd and, quote, may make recommendations concerning criminal prosecution. According to the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, the investigation goes beyond Trump's phone call and will include, quote, the abrupt resignation of former Atlanta-based U.S. Attorney B.J. Park, a November 2020 call Senator Lindsey Graham placed to Raffensperger, and false claims made by Trump attorney Rudy Giuliani during a hearing before the Georgia Senate Judiciary Committee. The report adds that District Attorney Fonnie Willis previously argued that appointing a special grand jury was necessary because a significant number of witnesses and prospective witnesses have refused to cooperate. As that investigation picks up steam, the House January 6th committee is now talking with at least one former member of Trump's cabinet, specifically former Attorney General Bill Barr. You may recall that even the ultra-loyal Barr refused to go along with Trump's whole stolen election scheme and told the Associated Press there was no widespread fraud. Committee Chairman Benny Thompson has confirmed the panel is in talks with Barr and is also looking into a draft executive order that would have permitted the Defense Department to seize voting machines all across the United States.
We've had conversations with the former Attorney General already. We've talked to Department of Defense individuals. We are concerned that our military was part of this big lie on promoting that the election was false.
Politico reports former New York City Police Commissioner and Trump ally Bernie Kerik told investigators that that plan to seize voting machines was the work of an ex-Army colonel named Phil Waldron. Waldron also reportedly circulated a PowerPoint that urged Trump to declare a state of emergency after the election.
Boy, Shannon, I tell you, I mean, this stuff ain't nothing but a mess. It's a mess. It's a mess. It is a mess. And, you know, we told the people we were going to be bringing this information to them and sharing with them, you know, what's really going on. And we're staying true to what we said we were going to do. And this ain't nothing but a mess. What, you know what I mean? You got the military involved. You got all of these people involved in trying to overthrow our democracy, who was sworn to uphold the Constitution of this United States of America against domestic and foreign entities. And they are part of a plot to overthrow this democracy. A plan, rather, to overthrow this democracy.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that that all of these who are involved need to be facing some serious prison time. We can't play with allowing people to erode our democracy by by planning and plotting to undercut the elections process. And so it needs to be criminal. Many of these are doing, you know, it's absolutely it's I'm almost lost for words, really, when you see how deep this thing goes. What we saw on January the 5th was the boiling over of the hot water in the pot, but it was the stuff down at the bottom, and that's why the Fourth Estate and programs like our Straight Talk is so important, because we continue to keep digging into this thing to find out what the cause of it is, and that is going to be the shock when you see exactly what is going on. So that's why fake news, that's why all the lying, and that's why all the trying to get people's attention off of the real issue and asking, basically who you gonna believe, me or your lying eyes. All of that is to get you off of what the real truth is. The real truth is that a president called a Georgia Secretary of State and told him find 11,800 votes wherever you got to find it, at Oakwood Cemetery, at West, wherever you can go find me, get me
Find those
11,700
votes.
and go find me some votes.
That's what he said.
That was happening. That was happening, Bishop, because that was the kind of climate that was going on centered around this. They were having these kinds of conversations. They were trying to see how can we stop, how can we cripple the vote? How can we overturn this thing? How can we stop it? How can we delegitimize it? All of this was happening. And so that was a leak tape that we heard that conversation. But if we could hear all the tapes, we'd be absolutely shocked. We wouldn't be shocked, but many in our viewing audience would be shocked.
But one of the things is that this committee, Shanan, has really been very helpful in exposing a lot of stuff. When he was talking about taking all the voting machines out of the state. Now we got this stuff going on now and they're still doing it. They're doing it in another way, but they're doing the same thing that he was talking about in terms of the plan to do this. So it's going on, it's still going on. So people need to be aware and conscious of what's going on. They're trying to, again, steal this election, but they're doing it in another way by placing their people in place to control the election that are nonpartisan, that strictly are Donald Trump supporters or supporters of that ideology. Can I say that? That ideology. They may not be totally supporters of him, but his ideology and way of thinking, they support that. With Ms. Green and some of the ones that are there in the Capitol. And I think something's going to come out about Lindsey Graham in this thing too, when Mrs. Willis and her team begin to peel back through this special grand jury what role he played in it, what role Giuliani played in it in the state of Georgia. We'll see more and more as it unfolds. And we'll keep you informed, the listeners and the viewers of Straight Talk. And share our program with your Facebook friend and your YouTube family. We're going to now go to another segment, and we're going to hear from now Mr. Gerald Rose, who is the president of the New World Order National Human Rights Organization, who's talking about black on black crime. We'll be back on the other side, Shanan and I. Well, we're now here with Brother Gerald Rose. He is the president, founder, and the CEO of New World Order National Human Rights Organization. And he's here to talk to us about black on black crime. We're glad to have you today, Brother Rose. How you doing?
Thank you for having me. You made a little mistake. It's New Order National Human Rights.
Okay, New Order. Hey, listen, I got it up there, right? But I will make a fraudulent mistake.
God is good. There's a lot going on, but the work got to continue.
Shannon, what'd you say now?
I said they're going to start saying this brother's the Illuminati. We don't want to start no rumors.
I don't say that,
Well, people will start a rumor anyhow. Don't make no difference.
Right.
Yeah, but Jared, tell us a little bit about, you've been around a while, and of course your father has been outstanding in the civil rights movement for many, many years, and you're a chip off the old block. Tell us about what's going on with your organization and this issue of black on black crime.
Well, I can tell you New Order has been blessed over the several years. When you got people coming to the organizations on the same level, same goal as you, God will continue to elevate the organization. Over the years, a matter of fact, about a week ago, I launched a local chapter of New Order in Sandersville, Georgia. We was on the front page of the paper. Actually, came out today. I actually going to Alabama next week for Black History Month. But I'm going there for a reason. I'm going for Black History Month, but I'm going to be having a national press conference on the steps of the capital of Montgomery, Alabama, about how can we continue to fight the enemy if we fighting each other. You know, we say Black Lives Matter, but when it comes to us killing each other, does it really matter? Where's the outcry? So I'm going in to send a message just to our community only, is that the fact that, Dr. King, Malcolm X, Medgar Evers, all Harriet Tubman, they die in vain, and what they're doing, what they did for us is feel like since we're killing each other, we defeating the purpose. But soon a law official or someone murder us, which I do understand when it comes to the system, it's not for us. But at the same time, I know New Order, we just as upset as far as when we hear little babies getting killed because bullets don't have no eyes. The violence going on, gun violence is going on throughout this country. So it makes me upset. And then we're going to have Black History Month. Everybody's celebrating like ain't nothing going on. There is something going on within ourselves, and things like that because of the violence. And then we also talk about economics, put money back in our own community, and things like that. So again, I'm just glad that God can continue to not just wake me up, but I have wonderful staff members across this country that I have planted seeds throughout the United States. And we say not I but we. That means we all in this together. When we say New Order for Life, that means we in this for life. This is not a part-time moment. This is a full-time movement, and we take these things very seriously.
All right, all right. Well, I know you've been at it for a while, for a good while, in terms of standing up for injustices being perpetrated upon people. Us as people, because your dad, that's what your dad was for. He stood for that and still stands for that. His dad's Reverend Floyd Rose. Many of you may know him in terms of the history. But the issue, and I think Reverend Jasper Williams, some years ago, he tried to pull pastors together across the state of Georgia to deal with black-on-black crime, long before we came up with Black Lives Matter. But does Black lives really matter when black people are killing each other? I mean, that's just a real issue. We just saw what's happening with the lives that are being taken, from black people, just shooting folks down like dogs. And the late J.P. Stoner, I don't know if you remember him. I remember him as a young guy as a minister. I remember when he ran for governor. This is what he said. He said, you don't have to worry about the Negroes because the Negroes will destroy themselves. And I bet John Brown, if what he said isn't coming to pass here in 2022, when we look at the deaths of people that have been killed, not by police officers, by people who look like us, killing each other. Yeah. And we can destroy each other other ways other than with guns. We can kill each other with our tongues by destroying each other and demeaning each other and looking at how we can tear people down of their our own color. Together we stand, united we stand, divided we fall. And I know Shanan has something to say about that because we started a group called Clergy with a Candle, where we are dealing with the issue of violence in our community. Shanan?
Absolutely. First of all, welcome, Brother Rose, and I think that this is an urgent matter that we need to deal with. How can we say Black Lives Matter only when an officer kills someone, but we don't care that there's black on black violence in our communities? And folks will come back and say, well, in Asian communities, Asians are killing Asians, whites are killing whites. And stuff. I'm in my community, and I know our history, and I know our sojourn here, and I know that our backs have been against the wall, and our enemies have been surrounding us and terrorizing us forever. And it's an affront to our historicity to allow a culture to a subculture to grow up and within our culture where it is acceptable for black folks to kill black folks, and we sit back and we wait for an officer. It's something that's inauthentic about that to me. There's something that is unserious, unfocused, and untrue. That someone would say Black Lives Matter, but all day long we're seeing black people shot. Every morning we wake up from 11 o'clock at night to 6 o'clock in the morning. All kinds of shootings and whatnot are happening in our communities. We wake up to see the news and we say nothing about it. 6-month-old child killed, mother driving through a community. We say nothing about it. We're not outraged about that. But as soon as an unjust officer goes over the amount of authority that he or she has and kills a black person, we're ready to take to the streets and we're ready to march. There's something wrong with that. And I'm happy that you're highlighting this. And I'm very much in support of you and your cause. Your cause is mine.
Well, I'm glad you said that they not upset, but we are upset. I done spoke out several times dealing with black on black crime here in Metro Atlanta area. You remember the little 9-year-old little girl named Shakur?
Yes.
The young girl, they was protesting a rally over there by the Wendy's off of University
Right,
Avenue.
right. Right.
I was the first one when that happened. I was the first one called a press conference and okay, why are we not outraged about that? A young little kid, 8-year-old, found a gun inside their parents' house. You know, he ended up pulling the trigger, you know, and killed himself. So I done did it several times when it comes to us, you know, and it's a shame that, and I get criticized sometimes when I use the word black on black crime. It is what it is, you know. And things like we have our own issues. Every community had their own issues, but I could tell you, New Order, we feel if your rights are being violated and if it comes to black on black crime, we will speak on it. I did several public pleas when the suspect is black and again the victim is black, and to turn yourself in. If you don't want to turn yourself in voluntarily, you can give me a call and I will take you gladly, walk you down to the police department so you can see your day in court. You are innocent till you're proven guilty. I do understand that, but at least doing my part to make sure that you see your day in court. You know, at least because when you say turn yourself in, you know, some of our black men, you know, when the law comes up to them, the first thing they do is run. And you know, when it comes to us, you know, they get trigger happy and they not patient when it comes to us. You know, things like that. I ain't saying all officers are like that, but the stuff that you see, there's some bad apples that's out there. It's just the fact that us as black people, you know, I just wish that what Dr. King and them did for us, how they got. I mean, I'm quite sure they had issues going on back then, but from a distance, it's like they stuck together economic wise. You know, our churches. I ain't saying they not involved now, but I know my dad, like you said, Bishop. My dad was one of them pastors came behind that pulpit. It was not easy growing up. My house and church was put on fire. Death threat calls came in, you know, and things like that. But my dad was in them streets marching and protesting. So I was exposed to civil rights as a young kid. I remember when Minister Farrakhan came to our church. I remember when I was a kid, we picked up Rosa Parks. She was a guest speaker at that church for Black History Month. You know, so I seen all that as a kid. But when two of my best friends got killed, which was black on black violence, I just started to actually something hit me. I got involved, you know, and things like that, you know. And when I came to Atlanta, didn't nobody know who I was. I was dealing basically just in Cobb County. Now, y'all know about Cobb County, I'm quite sure. I remember the late Joseph Lowry said, "Rose, I know you down here from out of town, you trying to get your thing going on, but Cobb County is a different beast." I said, "No disrespect, Mr. Joe, that's where I want to be at, you know, where people are afraid to go to and things like that." So I went from a local chapter to a national human rights organization, and things like that. But when it comes to black on black crime, I can tell you that I am very, very just as upset. I don't look at stuff from a distance. I do my research and facts and not take action because I don't go off emotions. I go off facts. You get off facts, you get a victory at the end of the tunnel, and things like that. So, me personally, I done dealt with black on black crime. I done dealt with gangs. I called a truce in Marietta, Georgia. So we've been out here doing this for a minute. If we could just save one child, we reached our goal. And I can tell you, every second Tuesday of each month, I go speak to about 100 black men at a place called the Georgia Works. And I always say, you know what? You are the role models. If you see something, a young kid in our own community doing something wrong, go ahead and correct the problem. Because a lot of these people just getting out of prison. You remember the thing Scared Straight back in the day that came on TV?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely.
I wish we had programs, things like that. But I can tell you all is that on every third Saturday each month, we partnership up with the Apex Museum, which is located in Auburn Avenue. I know y'all heard about the Apex Museum. And what we're doing every third Saturday, first of all, we're starting it for Black History Month, but we're telling these kids that every month is Black History Month. It's not just one month. And we're going to be giving training class if you get stopped by the police or even talking about the violence in our own community. We're going to kick that off every third Saturday of each month at 1 o'clock. And I'm glad we're getting a lot of support on this issue, and we're going to be talking about our own issues, and things like that. So I know we have a problem, just the fact that if we all could come together, and address this, because when you have numbers, that's power. When you have power, that's change. And I consider this the Black Mecca, but if for some reason we all doing the same thing, but I ain't saying all of us, but most of us, some of us, we're not even working together, and I don't understand that. And things like that. But I know we all have different agendas, but we must unite, man, and save our children, because no one's gonna save our children for us but us.
Well, we thank you so very much for the work that you're doing and whatever we can do to assist and help you in the efforts of black on black crime, because it is definitely dear to us. It's dear to us too, as you heard Shanan talked about, because we've been doing an event called Clergy with a Candle, and we'll talk to you more about what we've been doing in that area with clergy in terms of dealing with black people killing black people. So thank you, Brother Rose. We look forward to all your work and your effort, and we'll be in touch, and we'll be talking to you more, and maybe you can meet with us, a group of pastors, and talk about what you're doing and how we can work and helping together and try to help eradicate black on black crime. Thank you so very much.
Thank you for having me.
All righty.
All right.
Thank you. Be good, Brother Gerald.
Well, we want to thank the president and founder of the New World Order National Human Rights Group and his position on what we ought to do with black on black crime. We always talk about police brutality, what the police is doing, but look at what we're doing to ourselves. I remember a few years ago, Shannon, you may remember, may not remember, Reverend Jasper Williams created and brought a group of ministers tried through this state and this county, these various counties, to talk about how we can deal with black on black crime. Black on black crime. When we see all the things that's going on, the young man you saw the other day just shot into someone's house, several days, just shot into their houses. We have the young baby who was just killed, 6 months old. I mean, and then the other day, the stabbing of kids in Banneker High School. We see this stuff going on and on and on in our community, black on black crime. So I want to thank him and his organization for their work and what they are doing. And I know you got a position and a thought about that too. So I'm going to yield now and let you speak to your point on black crime.
We absolutely have to address it. When you think about the sojourn that we made to this country and what all that we've had to go through in terms of being terroristically attacked and governed and enslaved, to now turn around and do that to ourselves is completely unthinkable. And we've got, several codes in our community that we don't snitch and we don't tell and we don't do this and we don't do that and we protect. But let me just say very clearly, and I mean this, an unjust police officer that goes out and over polices and and goes over the amount of authority that they have to harm and to kill a black child, a black man, a black woman, is my enemy. A black man, a black boy that would kill my nephew, that would shoot me, that would shoot his neighbor, that would shoot his coach, that would shoot his friends or his peers, is my enemy. And I mean that very clearly. And I love them, but we got to deal. And we've got to come into our communities again. We've got to walk our communities again. We've got to talk to our young people. But then we also need an answer. I mean, I'm tired of the press conferences. We've got to have a round table. We've got to come up with some solutions. We've got to open up community centers again. We've got to have summer jobs and well-paying jobs that these young people can go in. We need distractions from the instances of things that cause our young people to move into violence. And we need positive distractions that can progressively take them forward instead of regressively taking us back to a place that as a people we have really never known, the hatred and the killing of ourselves.
Well, you know, Shanan, that is absolutely true. This black on black crime, we got to stop it. We must stop it. And we want to thank you. I know you're off today, and you got to go and do some other things. But I appreciate you sharing today right here on Yours Truly Straight Talk with yours truly, great friend and preacher man. And we'll be back with you next week with more discussion right here on Straight Talk. And if you would like to be a part of this program, all you do is Hal say each and every week, and we want to wish him a happy belated birthday, by the way. But as he say every week, all you got to do is email us at fan922@comcast.net, or as Miss C say, just go out to Straight Talk News 1362@gmail.com. And we'd love to have you as a guest and hear your opinions and put your opinions up on the YouTube channel. Won't you? And subscribe to our channel and hit the like button, give us a thumbs up, and you can ring that bell and you'll get notification every time we come on live, won't you? And this ain't been nothing but what, Shanan? Straight Talk.
Want to be a guest on Straight Talk? Email Greg Fann at FANN922@comcast.net or call 404-308-0795. Join us again for another episode of Straight Talk with Shanan Jones and Greg Fann, the Preacher Man.